Turn that on.
Yes! Hello!
And there you are. And I'm checking to see because I don't see it over here, but I'm sure it's around.
Yay!
Yep, there we are.
Yes! Whoa!
And there we have that. There's Harrison Ford talking about data visualization.
Yeah, so we have two laptops set up. We have mine to do the stream, and then we have Elijah's that's going up to
the big screen.
The big screen, so we can follow your chats. Nobody has. Hey, is anyone there?
Is there anybody here? Why are we even doing this? There's apparently supposed to be 9 people here.
11 people. Hello.
Yeah. Excellent. Welcome to ShirleyChats.
Yay! Is this the right chat room?
Host Shirley.
Hi, Robert.
There we go.
Yeah, welcome to ShirleyChats. Thank you for doing my hosting.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, so I'm Shirley. This is Elijah.
There are so many screens I don't even know where to look.
Yeah,
and in some of these screens, I'm doing things in the past. This is very confusing.
Yes. So let's just focus on this one for now. This one. Well, actually, but then we have to. Hello, Philip Mark, and hello, Narrator, and hello, JDZ27. Okay. Yeah, so we're at Netflix building in Los Gatos.
That's right.
And the very first thing I have to comment on is Elijah's mustache.
There are only 2 things that any human beings know about me, and that's what my facial hair is and whether or not I'm drinking coffee or kombucha. Those are the only things that people know.
Really? Because I didn't know that about you.
Right, see? So I said, well, those are the only things that people do know. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone knows it. So I'm drinking coffee right now.
Okay.
And I have a mustache.
Okay.
Are you going to be okay with that? Is that like...
No, I'm just kidding. So
it could be a whole different kind of Twitch stream where I shave my mustache off as a result of peer pressure.
No, I was making this comment earlier because I think I met you in, 2014? Early 2014. And I don't think I've ever seen you with a mustache. And I also made this comment earlier because we haven't actually seen each other since like March or so. And we haven't talked to each other. And I was like, Elijah, I don't know what you look like. I don't know.
Let's catch up on live TV on the internet. Yes.
Yeah, and then you were like, and then I was like, what's new with you? And you were like, nothing.
That's right. Except apparently the mustache dominated your thoughts.
Well, yeah, because...
I thought you were maybe asking about data visualization. I thought this was going to be about data visualization.
No,
I didn't know this was going to be some kind of ambush.
It's only about your mustache.
All right. Do we have any questions from the chat room about my mustache?
About your mustache. No, I'm kidding.
No, I hope so.
Yeah, so moving on to actual topics.
Right.
Yeah, no, but do tell me what's new in your world.
What is new? I continue to work at Netflix, and I continue to try my best to beat Scott Murray at having a D3 book about V4 enter the market. And I used to think for sure that I was going to beat Scott Murray.
Did he beat you?
And I don't know, but he's tweeting more, and there's like pictures of the title of his book and everything. And my book continues to languish in the post-development process.
Yeah, you know what? To both you and Scott.
Yeah.
When is the book coming out?
That's a great question. Scott's book is coming out in August. I know this because he's been tweeting about it all the time, and he keeps saying August. My book, which I finished writing what I feel like years ago, continues to wait to be published while more and more updates to the D3 API happen, and my book becomes progressively more and more out of date. Never write a book about anything.
That will change?
No, just in general. I'm pretty sure that that's why J.D. Salinger never wrote again. It was probably he felt really bad about like updating his book for later audiences. I don't know. Anyway, so I've been working on my book a bit. I've been reaching out to the folks like you who did the D3 in the real world pieces because apparently all the high resolution images got lost, and so I was like, hey, could you send me new high resolution images again?
That happened?
Yeah, because of me, because I embedded them into the document and didn't save the default images. It didn't matter for you because your example was Hamilton, and Hamilton I could just go to the site and I could get new images.
Well,
but for some people I had to go contact them because their images were like
proprietary?
They were internal for some project they worked on.
Oh.
And they were maybe so like I've got a section from Boku
Mm-hmm.
in the design
Oh,
chapter
cool.
that talks about how they design something and what the design looked like compared to the final product.
Mm-hmm.
So the final product was easy enough to get screenshots of, but their design was this internal document.
Wait, how do you know? Like, how do you know if you screenshotted my stuff correctly? Like,
Do you
which
mean your stuff, or
Yeah.
do you mean like one's stuff? Because a normal person's stuff, I'd be, there are ways that you could analyze it. Your stuff, I'm pretty sure any screenshot of Hamilton, like just the dots forming the Hamilton logo, is good enough.
I think I just got complimented by Elijah,
Yeah.
so I wasn't actually. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wasn't actually expecting this to happen.
Have we had a crash of people? Yeah, no,
Um,
we have 2 people watching now as a result of mustache and friendliness. We will try to have a clean-shaven, mean conversation
Well,
from here on out.
maybe it's because we're out of practice, Elijah.
That's right.
Because we haven't seen each other in
That's
like
right.
months. There was like a stretch of time in like 2015 or something
Right.
where we used to see each other like
That's right.
almost every single month.
Right. Yeah, we were trying to write. You were working near here, and Miles was around, and
Mhm.
Jason was around, and we would go to Facebook, or we'd have people over here, or we'd go.
Well, that happened once.
That's
on
right.
Netflix.
No, oh, right. Well, I mean, in Toto, there would be people Dataviz people
In the South Bay Collective.
going somewhere and eating the food at their various places work
Mostly Facebook
Yeah.
until they started cracking down.
because they had mostly the best food.
Yes, they had so many options, and they have valets.
That's right. That's right. We don't have valets.
And at that point, I feel like Elijah was the only person that fast talked snark and sass and sarcasm, and that brings out the snarky side.
Right, because you're such a pleasant person to everyone else. You're so like kind and
I'm not
helpful.
actually.
Right.
But like for some reason, talking to you, I just get meaner and
Right.
meaner and meaner.
Right.
Like online on Twitter.
Well, this is good because now we can record it, so it doesn't have to be one of these secret conversations. And then you go out and say, "No, I really love this stuff that people are doing." We'll get it right here. We can dive into just what's wrong with everyone and everything.
This is great. This is
Yeah,
gonna be great.
I think that'll be useful, and I'll just slowly drift out of the camera until.
Oh, speaking of, like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, our Twitter conversations, I wonder if anybody thinks we hate each other.
Right.
Because we're just so mean to
Right.
each other. And I'll be, like, really unapologetically mean to you.
Well, it wasn't a problem back when we had fewer followers, but now, as you become more prominent in the field, and as I just sort of accrete followers by glomming on to various personalities, yeah, it feels like a more public conversation. It feels more performative, and that worries me. Like I've tweeted less now
Really?
because more people listen, and
But I
so
love your tweets.
I have fewer things to say about meaningful stuff.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay, hold on. This is just going to be, like, slight gossip hour. Not gossip, actually.
Sure.
But Susie...
So nobody over here listen, okay? Especially Susie if you're logged in. Or if you're watching this, just forward past this part.
Wait, Nadi, I asked Nadi to watch. I don't know if Nadi is watching, but she probably doesn't have a Twitch account, so she can't really comment anyways. So probably the same for Susie.
Mhm.
So, Susie told me that you are so into your puns and jokes that you will, like, spend... Like, you will build yourself up to the perfect joke, to have the perfect punchline in your tweets. She told me this.
So yes. Puns are super important to me. Like, puns and wordplay is super important to me. And it doesn't matter if the rest of you understand it or not.
I don't understand.
This is the other thing I heard. Somebody was saying, oh my god, I don't understand 70, I can't remember what the number was. Numbers don't matter, people. Percent of what he's saying on Twitter. And I think that's...
About you?
Yeah, like, who
love,
cares?
I love what you say on Twitter, even if it makes no sense to me.
Right. Good. That's how we should react to things.
Wait, SQPM
Oh, there's a
says-
question.
I don't think that's a question. I think that's a comment. Makes conversations more interesting when the
Sure.
people aren't afraid to tell each other.
All
if
right.
they disagree.
Let's start with disagreements.
Really?
Shirley, is data visualization dead? I mean, except for you and Naughty, is anybody else really doing any good
Aren't
data
you?
visualization? Of course I am. It's right up there. You can see it.
And so is Susie, actually.
Yeah, but that's all here. We do that over here.
Wait, no, there's other people like I love what Chris just did for the data stories visualization. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, this
Chris,
is where
data stories.
you guys, I set up my laptop, so now I can like switch to my browser. You can still see us, but then this is where I'm like I go to like Twitter and like search up Chris and then find the, because I can't remember his last name. I don't.
I just searched for Chris data stories, but maybe.
But that's not the Chris that I'm talking about. Christian. This one. I quite enjoyed this one.
Oh, the visualization of data stories. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then at first I was really confused because there's no legends or annotations, which is exactly,
which why would there be? Why would you put that on a data visualization? What a bad idea.
This is exactly
I love the color
Susie's
scheme.
domain. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the faded color scheme is really nice.
But then I started digging into it, and then I was like, oh, this makes so much sense. If you just keep like, if you just hover and interact, I think you're like in here somewhere.
Yeah, I'm near the end.
There we go. There you are.
Look at me.
And then so this
talking
is
about industry. And who else talks about industry?
I think it might just be you.
Good.
You're
Even
like
better.
the one person. Oh wait, industry. Oh no. There's other industry.
Oh, so these are episodes down there that are all connected to industry.
Yeah. So this is
and what are the little like nodules that they're growing? Does that mean there's 2 people on that show?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Isn't that awesome? I think
awesome.
that's really awesome. Like they look like
any data visualization that has nodules is always going to be.
Wait, I like to think of them as like
there's like a real body horror aspect to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I like to think of them as people sitting around the table.
Oh, that's nice. Sure. Or like growths, right? Like cancerous growths.
Thanks.
On a topic.
Thanks. Look, there's us.
Oh yeah. Look at you guys. What are you? You're in art and design.
Yeah. Whoa.
Hey.
Oh, we got a follower.
Did you get money? Oh.
No, we got a follower. Wait, hold on. I need to wait.
Now you're gonna reward your follower with some kind of.
But I couldn't see the.
There it is.
Can you make it bigger so I can see? Oh, it went away. I'm sorry, somebody that followed.
There you go. I'm sure it was there. Just because you didn't see it didn't mean they didn't.
I know, but I like to say thank you. So this is one of them, and then like I know.
No. I mean, of course, we could find some examples of people still doing some decent data visualization work. Some few small, like I'm sure at the end there were a few dinosaurs like after the asteroid had crashed and most of them had choked to death. I'm sure a few years later there were a few of them that were still struggling along, right?
Yes,
but ultimately, the point still stands that the whole species went extinct, or whatever it was, genius or whatever it was.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Instead of hold on.
Here, you want to give this one some kind of
Wait, it's oh, Robert. Robert just followed. Thank you, Robert.
Excellent.
Okay. And there's that question up there that says, where do you all get the idea for these Dataviz? So cool. Thank you so much. Let's get back to that one after we talk about the death of Dataviz,
sure.
Which is what you're claiming.
Right.
So before I get into all of my opinions, I want to just hear your opinions because you are responsible for that one giant tweet. Can I even find it? Where do I find it?
Who knows?
Go
to Medium and search for angry people on Medium.
Just gonna search for you.
Yeah, there we go.
You're angry people on Medium.
Yeah. Keep going. This is making great live streaming, isn't it? Keep scrolling. I think actually it's above that.
You sure?
I think
Where
so.
did
It's
it go?
the one with 200. There we go.
200?
Yeah, if data visualization is so hot, why are people leaving? Okay. Which, since then, how many people have left Dataviz since then? Like another 10,000. Right? So the tweet itself should be, I don't know, up at the top where I see
You don't have it.
Oh. Well, Moritz embedded it in his.
Okay.
Here, look, stop. Here, I'll do this for you, because it's driving me nuts.
I was just about to say, for someone that does Dataviz, your like data claims are like all over the place.
Right. That's right. They are. Because I do data visualization, not data analysis. Like, data visualization doesn't have anything to do with the truth of the underlying data. Data visualization has to do with the representation of information in a manner that is comprehensible to human beings. And so that could be bad information, or lying information, or immoral information, or whatever. The way that it's crafted is what data visualization is about, and that's what we've stopped doing. Now we've all become like these weird little moralists talking about, well, it doesn't, it's looking clearly at the raw data, and it's this, you have this responsibility not to lie to people.
I'm
and all
one
of
of
this
those.
Stuff. Right, I know. And it's just goofy, and it has gotten in the way of what data visualization is actually about, which is about exploring visual form for representation of graphical objects that represent different structures within data, regardless of whether those structures are good or bad or misleading or otherwise.
Okay.
And so instead what we've got is we've got all of these calls to, use really sort of primitive techniques because they're well established and people understand them and people can read them. We're constantly hearing about people's grandmothers being unable to read charts, which is like, that's great. I'm sorry that your grandmother can't read my chart.
Hold on. I think you are confounding two different factors.
Sure, let's hear them.
So I think there's one claim you are making, which is that like Dataviz is separate from the underlying data being good or moral or whatnot.
Right.
And then, so that's one point you just made.
Correct.
Or correct. And then the second one.
It's correct.
And that is correct. And the second one you just made is that it has to be like simple and straightforward and everybody can read them. Those are two completely separate, like, they're not...
Yes, that's true. I wasn't confounding them. I was listing them as different points in my argument for things that we've done that have gone wrong with Dataviz. I think that they're related, but I agree. These are separate points.
Okay. I can't even remember why we were trying to pull
There's the tweet. There's my tweet. Oh,
why were we
found
trying
it.
to...
Proof that I actually made this tweet.
Why were we trying to pull this up?
You referenced it.
Why did I reference it?
You said that I made this tweet a while ago that upset a bunch of people, and now I'm upsetting people further here in this Twitch live.
Okay, Robert, so I have to read up these comments because it won't go into the videos. Have your marked opinions on the death of Dataviz and my inference, your lack of satisfaction with its appreciation, perhaps even at Netflix, stirred internal controversies at your company or lead to forward-looking conversations or perceived as a CLM? Okay, you just answer those whole thing.
First of all, what's a CLM? I don't know that term.
It's going to take a little bit.
Sure, no, that's fine. And second, the weird thing about this, and this is the interesting thing that I've heard a number of times, is there's a tendency to believe that I'm unhappy at Netflix, which is interesting.
Wait, hold on.
I'm actually like super happy, right? Or maybe I'm just unhappy at life. I'm super happy at life because I've got coffee, and now they've got kombucha, and look at my nice mustache. No, actually, I'm really satisfied with my job at Netflix. Netflix is actually a really great place to work, and I'm doing a lot of interesting data visualization. One of the things that I mention on Twitter a lot is I talk about how I can't show people the kind of work that I'm doing. And so one of the ideas I had for this Twitch was that I would put all of this NDA-protected stuff up on screen, and I'd make Shirley look at it and be impressed by it on camera, but you'd never get to see what it actually was.
Ooh.
So for me, there's a real empathetic sense that I exercise when I express this, which is that my personal data visualization related activity, while yes, there are always going to be sort of professional struggles to justify the kind of work that I want to do with data visualization, is actually really fulfilling. And I feel like I'm doing a lot of innovative work in that visual display of information area that I was talking about earlier. But I see some people at Netflix, but especially across the valley, who seem not to be doing that in their jobs, even though their job is technically a data visualization job. They express dissatisfaction or unhappiness. They talk about these frictions. And I see other evidence of that, and I feel like because I'm the person who gets to say things on Twitter, that's like me and Robert Kosara are the two people who are allowed to say bad things on Twitter without people getting too nervous about it. As a result, I feel like I should speak up about this. I feel like the community would be more vibrant if more people were troubled by it. And I think that, after making that tweet, after writing those articles, the articles that came out, there was pushback in the form of writing from several people in the field saying, no, these complex charts are canard. We shouldn't be wasting our time on them. We should focus on using simple charts. We should focus on exposing sort of clear relationships between data that are very accessible for people.
I don't know if I've seen those conversations. I know, because I knew you've... Okay, wait, hold on. Let me even back up to before when you were saying that you're really happy with what you're doing at Netflix. And I think it's absolutely awesome what you guys are working on.
Right.
Like, especially, like, I know, like, Susie published the annotation library, but, like, I know how much of, like, you and Susie were, like, I can only guess, worked super closely together on, like, the design, and you probably had, like, a lot of feedback loop to, like, get that out, and you're, like, now working on your own library to try and, like, get that out.
Yep.
So I think it's really, really awesome what you guys are trying to do, and to your point of, like, being in industry, being behind like a corporate wall, you can't quite publish what you do, because what you do, the visualizations that you make, no matter how good, is going to always be tied to the data, the proprietary data, and that's why you can't put it out into the world. But even despite that, like, you and Susie, I see you guys just like making efforts to try and open source whatever you can in whatever form that you can. And I respect that a lot, and I think it's really cool what you're doing.
Sure. So, I mean, to be clear here, just in case Susie does ever watch this, Susie designed her whole API for the annotation framework, and really just sort of went off into the cave and came up with this idea.
Okay.
So I was very happy to do a couple of examples for it and give her as much feedback as she wanted. But no, that wasn't a collaborative effort. She was just full bore on it.
That was in my imagination.
No, of course. And I like that idea. But no, you can tell because it's so well designed. She's very good at design.
Imagination of what happens behind Netflix doors.
And that's one of the reasons why it's a good job, is because Susie does really good work like that. And we work well together.
Yeah.
But partly you're right in that if the data visualization is good, if I really am making really great data visualization here at Netflix, then I really can't show it, because really good data visualization clearly shows the relationships between points, that if it's a complex data visualization, shows something that's rather innovative and radical, and that's just the kind of thing that's covered by NDA, and you can't go and put that out there. If it is really good at showing the performance of titles at Netflix, then that's the last thing that Netflix would want shared.
That makes sense, yeah.
So that's true. By the same vein, I've also seen a lot of internal applications, both at Netflix and especially elsewhere, that by people who are before they entered industry, were doing extremely innovative work, and once they got into industry, their emphasis became on deploying rather sort of pedestrian dashboards, and their focus, their innovation, their technical work was around frameworks and sort of UI development to deploy those dashboards, or on wiring them up to sort of high-speed data backends. And so I've seen a lot of people who are, super, like, considered to be super innovative in data visualization get into industry and be put into a position that they're well compensated for, but that is no longer producing that work, even under cover of NDA. So I'm concerned with that side of it too.
So, and let me, so we have like a few more questions, but let me also say, I've been following kind of, I think it's really great, the conversations that it brought about, and I've listened to the Data Stories interview, and I think I've also listened to the Policy Viz interview, and like, I really, really like the points that you make in there. I think you've said some of them. So if you guys haven't seen or heard those episodes, like, check them out, because I think it's like a lot of the conversations you had after this tweet. So that that question, Elijah, your second point was interesting. Do you think Dataviz as a field is a bubble? Designers are constantly coming up with more complex interactive graphs that their colleagues applaud, but which for someone outside the field don't really explain anything. Doesn't that kind of go against the whole idea of visualizing data?
Well, so it's an interesting point. I think a valid one, right? So visual rhetoric is about communication, and if you create something that does not communicate, then isn't it a failure? Yes and no. So yes to a certain degree, but I think that we need to develop new forms because I don't think that data visualization is sort of a solved problem. I think that we're dealing a lot with uneven visual literacy. There's a lot of terms that people talk about here. But one of my favorite ways of framing this is that in the 6th grade we all learn to read maps, and maps are extremely abstract, complex ways of relaying information. And if at the same time we'd learn to read network graphs and other complex charts like hierarchical diagrams and things, then people wouldn't struggle with them. So people's inability to read charts is both simultaneously a valid critique of the chart, but also a valid critique of the lack of push on the part of developers for trying to entice readers into developing those literacies, and on the part of leadership within organizations on pushing the people in those organizations to invest in learning those literacies. So yes, I think that is a valid point, but one that we can sort of further problematize and we can struggle with. Instead, what I've sort of seen is, there's always been sort of these different streams of data visualization thought leadership, and those streams typically were people doing this sort of innovative graphical work and trying to really deal with graphical display of information. And then there were people who were dealing with sort of teaching people best practices, and then there were people who were dealing with sort of innovating in the tech stack, right? Making technology so that these graphics were more accessible and higher performing. And I feel like what's happened now is we still have, the two of those streams, but one of those streams is very, very weak right now. I don't see much in the way of the leadership around graphical display. Yeah. Does that ring true to you, or do you feel like
I think that's completely fair? There were so many points in there. Hold on. Okay, I need to remember the things I wanted to say. So going back to the middle of what you were saying, I think actually there was 3 points I wanted to say. So the very first one is actually from a previous conversation about well, actually I'll say that one later. So in the middle of your point, I think what was really great is there is a difference between a complex graph that's just unreadable because it doesn't do its job at communicating. Right. There's that. It could be complex and it could be shiny and could be pretty, but it doesn't do its proper job of communicating the data. But then there's complex graphs that does its job of communicating data. It is valuable, but it gets chucked aside because a lot of times we just have this like big brushstroke of simple is better. That's right. And so I completely agree with what you're saying that like there should be some sort of education, some sort of training around being able to have training and patience to read more complex but high quality data visualizations. So that was one of my first points I wanted to say. And
I'm just going to put something up there in the background so we have something fun in the background while you continue. So your second point.
So that was my first one, and I think, and then the second one, crap. I think.
So there's distinguishing between while you reward the new follower. The first point regarded distinguishing between. Thank you for following. Somebody doing a bad job of designing a chart versus somebody who designed a good chart, but it was evaluated poorly because their audience wasn't willing to invest in it.
So, and then towards the end of your conversation, I think you were saying investment and leadership into that training. I actually want to show you in a bit the visualization I have that I'm supposed to publish someday soon.
I think this is actually killing your laptop, so I'm going to turn this off now.
Oh, crap. Yeah. Okay. Good call. And then the very first point that I had was actually about going back to your claim about the death of data visualization.
And
So
the
I
three
remember now.
streams.
The 3 streams.
Sure.
Okay. And so your claim is more. Ooh, hello.
Followers and followers and followers.
Nylunia, thank you so much for following. It's so cute. That cat gif. Did you catch it? Okay, so.
No.
You should catch the cat gif. It's so cute. Look at that.
Oh, there we go. And it murders that poor butterfly.
Hey, that's a heart that it caught.
That butterfly looks like a heart as a sort of chameleon kind of response to try to blend in, and that cat murdered it.
Anyways, so the death that you're talking about is more about the innovation that whether it's in industry or whether it's elsewhere, the death of kind of the innovation and pushing the form forward.
That's right.
And I think that's a really, really good point. And where I have to agree is that it's kind of like what you're saying. Like when I was at Illumio, I had a great time at Illumio. I learned a lot at Illumio. I had really great freedom in terms of how I decided to technically implement things and to explore. And so it was a really great time in terms of like kind of just developing like my technical skills, but at the same time, it's like what you said, the freedom of the design and the prototyping wasn't there. And it wasn't until I quit and decided to do freelancing that I had the freedom to kind of like, do something like data sketches where like, it's not necessarily like, I don't think I'm making hits every single time. Right. I'm definitely not. But like at the very least, most definitely not.
I mean, seriously, not. Not even one.
No. But at the very least...
No, I get what you're saying, right.
I get to experiment.
That's right.
And then even if I put something out that maybe doesn't communicate the data well, at least I gave that form a try.
That's right.
And so...
And in giving that form a try, you both expose audiences to that form and maybe you find something that resonates. You also develop those skills for yourself so that later on you can have a combinatorial moment where you think, oh, I might use this aspect of visual communication from this form and combine it with this aspect from this other form, which I think is where much of the sort of visual innovation occurs. And that's why these libraries like D3 and these sort of grammar graphics-based libraries afforded so much sort of novel visual types when they popped up. We have a question about Dataviz at Netflix for the actual user, right? Dataviz in the product. So it's interesting because Shirley worked at a company where the data visualization, she made a network chart that allowed customers to look at how the health of their network. So they were using the actual network visualization. Whereas at Netflix, I build data visualization, but it's for analysts and scientists to understand how our product's working. How are the algorithms working? Are subscribers signing up? How does that look across, devices and countries and things like that? And so the question becomes, well, why don't we have data visualization as part of the product? Part of what you do is see data visualization of maybe our library or of the actual works that you're looking at. And we haven't done something like that, and primarily because Netflix is sort of laser-focused on having the best experience as far as finding a movie, and they have constantly found that gets in the way. Like those sort of bells and whistles, like Amazon's X-ray feature that shows who's on screen and some trivia about what's on screen, which they have for their titles. But I think that, Susie, in fact, is going to experiment with something during the next Hack Day. It looks very interesting that if you work here at Netflix, you'll be able to see. There have been some interesting Hack Day experiments for ways to embed data visualization and just general sort of pattern analysis, statistical analysis about your habits and what you're watching and things like that. And I do think it's a matter of time. I think that eventually, I said this during a talk a while back, the way that a lot of people enjoy media, the way that they enjoy fiction, a lot of them enjoy it in a very structural way. It has nothing to do with watching it. It has to do with analyzing it. It has to do with seeing the patterns in it. I remember that talk, yeah. And so I think that it's only natural that eventually companies that expose media in traditional formats will start to expose data visualization products around it that allow you to experience the sort of structural and ludic qualities of it.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
But not soon.
Ooh, okay, so Nailunia, first Shirley Chat I'm seeing live. Hey, Nadi. Thank you for making a Twitch account and joining. And then, wait, my favorite quote from the discussion after the Elijah tweet is this one from Lars. Lars, for many companies, data visualization is still a hygiene factor, necessary but not crucial.
Right.
I love it. And then, so I pulled this up to talk about in a bit. This is basically the visualization I've been working on for my community month for data sketches, which was...
What month was community month? Like April?
Yes. And it's basically my visualization of the survey that you put out, the community survey. And there was like 45 survey questions or something. Here's the list of the questions, and then you publish that raw data. And this is what I've been working on.
You should drop all of this in the chat, by the way. You can only do that if you're an administrator or the owner of the channel. So.
I know, but it's not ready.
Oh.
Well, I guess it's ready, but I wanted to release it with my write-up.
No, I understand.
So I also have a write-up that's hopefully almost done.
That's good. That's
good. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I'll put it in the background. And then there's a question from Hobo Sheep. Can complexity associated with good and appealing design not be a way to attract people and encourage them to dive into the viz and try to discover stories and patterns as we do with maps? Does not lead to better understanding of these visualizations by a broader public with time, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it, that complex visualization, one of the values of it is it differentiates it from other data visualization that people have seen. We do have an attention economy even inside the workplace. And so if your data visualization can have some flashy bells and whistly, like even if it doesn't have any, even if it doesn't bring any more value to it, and hopefully it would, but if it presents it in a way that is novel and enticing to a person, and complexity can do that, then that is a value unto itself, absolutely. The problem is we're operating currently in a sort of post, I don't know.
Attention?
No. There's that stupid chart that says when people, get enthusiastic about things, and then they get cynical about things, and so on. And anyway, so people are very cynical about data visualization right now.
Really?
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's in the industry. Everybody who didn't want to invest in data visualization has learned all of the great arguments for why you shouldn't use any kind of data visualization except for a bar chart. And you constantly hear about not using visualization for visualization's sake. And there's this weird sense that data visualization people, even highly paid professional ones, are constantly, if you don't keep them on a leash, just ready to go run off and make a network chart of your data, whether you wanted it or not, whether it was useful or not, just to serve their own sick ends, right? And in a way that, that doesn't seem to be the case with like data engineers and data scientists, though I'm sure that you get some sense that, everybody wants to use a new toy that they see. And so right now, complexity, even if it's the right chart, even if you're looking at hierarchical data, if you show a hierarchical chart, you should expect to have to justify it more than you should, because people have internalized all of these sort of rules for good data visualization, which have to do with using barely any color, using no pie charts, using bar charts, using a zero baseline, and that's about it. And so as soon as you step outside of that, you are going to have to justify it. And you are going to have to justify it to a suspicious audience. And I think that a big reason for that is I think that data visualization developers didn't invest in really justifying it, in really measuring impact. Back when everybody was excited about this, they were happy to just do it, and they didn't spend any time looking at sort of best practices for complex charts, measuring success and impact of complex charts, and developing any sort of sense of what was good and bad and right and wrong about that whole sort of class of charts.
Mhm.
And as a result, they've all been sort of thrown out. But, these things are cyclical. And so I think that with luck, Dataviz will come back from the dead, like a Nosferatu.
So, talking to Elijah always makes me wonder if I'm just like living under a rock, which I probably am because I
Yes.
freelance and then I don't talk to I talk to
And Shirley's experiencing she's one of the most popular people in data visualization right now. She and Nadia are super popular. People point to them and say, I wish I could make things like them, be like them. They cosplay Shirley and Nadia at Comic-Con. It's crazy. So yeah, you do live a little bit under a rock.
You gotta.
But that said, keep going.
No, I meant more that I live under the freelancing rock, and I only talk to clients and Naughty. I only talk to
You live
Naughty.
under several rocks.
Yes, many rocks piled on top of rocks. Apparently, the people that I regularly talk to are my clients and Naughty. And I tried to message you, and you're too busy at Netflix to respond to me.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't talk to that many people, so I guess that's why I don't know the state of the world.
I mean, to be clear, I don't talk to people either because people are dumb.
Where are you getting
But
this
I do
from?
listen to people.
Okay.
And people do make clear the things that they're doing based on the things that they say and their responses to certain sort of provocations.
Thank you, Sridnify, for following.
Oh, you killed another heart-shaped butterfly.
It's
God,
cute.
You people
it's
are
cute.
just monsters.
So, Nadi says that's the same for me too. So we create our own bubble then, I guess. Okay, so Bar Martland. Actually, before I get to those questions, we get
The
to
Gartner
those
Hype
questions.
Cycle. Thank you, Nadi. Thank you.
What?
Shirley was looking at me like I was a crazy person. Thank God for Nadi.
I know. Thank
Somebody
you for
should
Nadi.
embroider that on a pillow.
I'm super looking forward to when Nadi is here in
Yeah.
September, and then we're just gonna do like ShirleyChats every night. I'm kidding, Nadi, not every night, just like one night, maybe two if there's encore. I'm kidding. I'm just gonna do
San Francisco
fast.
Comic Con. You guys show up, you'll be stars.
So, but before I get onto that one,
You
there is something.
you could dress like Nadi, and she could dress like you. That would. I should totally be your manager. Don't worry about it. Trust me, it's a good idea.
Oh, we do need a PR person.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. So I do want to say about Hobo Sheep's question about complexity and visualizations for the broader public. So I've been thinking about this for a little bit. It's a little bit different from your answer. So I've been getting ready for this short talk about the value of more fun, like quote unquote silly visualizations.
Sure.
Things things that aren't serious, things that don't go into product, things that don't belong to New York Times, but like things like the Hamilton one I did, things like the one that Nadi did about Dragon Ball Z, which is like really beautiful, and she spent a lot of time, and and that resonates with a part of the public that's like obsessed with Dragon Ball Z or obsessed with Hamilton or obsessed with whatever that fun category, pop culture category is, but hasn't seen data visualization and being able to be exposed to that. I think that's absolutely I think that's really cool, and this is like a thing that I've been thinking about a bit more because I need to develop a short talk on. So I think, for me, I want to try and do more of that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the thing I wanted to say about that.
Absolutely. No, and I think that we need more of that. And I think one of the things that I'd like to do, I've been talking to, and somebody I need to put you in touch with.
And you did Archer. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, and
That's
you need
right.
to bring that up.
That's
Okay.
right. We did things like that. That was sort of what I did at Stanford, was we looked at the structure of all of these different phenomena. I think that that's valuable, but we've sort of reached a saturation point with data visualization projects, and people don't engage with them as deeply as we want them to. We've seen this. Anybody who's built these projects knows this. It's not just what Gregorish was saying about like what percent of interactivity do people engage with. It's really how much time and investment. One thing that I'd like to do, so I was talking to someone that, there's a million startups around here, and one of the things they want to do is develop a curriculum for data science for kids, for grade school. And what I would love to do is set up a Hack Day event where the purpose of the Hack Day is to develop data visualization for 10-year-olds. That's the thing. Like, how do you build
That sounds
a
fun.
scatter plot that's the most accessible scatter plot if your audience and your stakeholders are all 10-year-olds? What's the network diagram that's really going to speak to 10-year-olds? Because I think that, first of all, those are the people who we really need to educate. And secondly, when you make something that 10-year-olds can read, then you also make something that surly 50-year-olds can read. And you secretly get them in there.
Wait, can I go on a tiny little
A
tangent?
surly tangent?
A surly tangent. So, first of all,
Yes.
when I asked people, when I was starting out ShirleyChats, and I asked people like who they wanted me to interview first, and it was like you and Susie and Tony and Elijah. I mean, you're Elijah, Ian. And I was not expecting you to be the very top.
That's right. Sorry about that.
And I was like, wait, but why?
People love controversy.
People love. I was like, maybe entertainment value. And then it turns out that I like interview you after all of them because like logistically it was just harder to schedule.
Because Shirley
with you.
holds grudges.
I know, I do. No, I'm kidding. But also when I was starting this, and I was like, what should I call this? And I was asking you and Ian for like names, and it was like ShirleyChats. Like I think I had ShirleyChats, and like Ian said like something. It's like Saloon with Shirley, and you go ShirleyChats.
ShirleyChats, right? Angry Shirley inflicts herself upon someone an hour every week, and you get to watch. It's perfect for the internet.
Week.
It's designed for the internet.
But I loved it so much. I was like, oh my god, I want it to be ShirleyChats,
Right.
and I was really sad that people didn't like ShirleyChats.
Sorry.
But
you have to learn, like, people don't like complex data visualization either. You have to force it on them anyway.
Okay.
That's the lesson. If I could teach anyone out there, anyone who's interested in getting into data visualization, I saw some comment that said it's depressing for people trying to get into the field. It's not. It's a challenge. Take the challenge and make people read your charts, regardless of whether or not they wanted them.
Oh yeah, because Hobo Sheep said
That's
a bit
depressing,
depressing for someone wanting to go into that field. No, I think, okay, so there's going to be people on the spectrum like Elijah, and there's going to be people on the spectrum like me and Nadi that's like, I guess, under several rocks. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, you could be one of the hyper-successful freelancers in data visualization.
This conversation, moving on.
Right.
Okay, so, SQPM. Elijah, when will we see your Shirley cosplay? Please don't.
Since Shirley doesn't even comprehend when I bring it up, I don't even know if she'd get it when I showed up dressed as Shirley.
I don't think I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
so Nadi says, and on that hype cycle, I think you were referring to the face of trough of disillusionment. Personally,
That's right.
I love the wonderful ways they have named the different segments on that chart. I have no idea what that is.
No, and isn't it great? I mean, it's a great example of annotation and the narrative value of making a chart mean more because you have named the features of the chart. And that's exactly where I think, and you know, these would be so much more effective if they were naughty chats. I mean, I'm just saying, naughty, we need you. I mean, just think of our Dutch audience right now who doesn't even understand what we're saying, whereas naughty could translate.
Shh. Philippe is here from the Caves of France.
One of the also, which I think is really cool, the Caves of France. One of the last of the great geometers going on right now, right? There used to be such like geography nerds playing with geography and geometry, and all that's left now is Philippe implementing some random geographic projection and pushing it out into the world and saying, you can make wallpaper with this. You could make an umbrella with this. Here's a projection that's half a fish and half of a mermaid, and I've welded it together, and it's amazing. But we used to, like 2 or 3 years ago, that was all people were doing.
What happened?
They got into technology, I think. A lot of the people who were doing that got more involved in developing software more sort of professionally. And now when I sort of see the work they're doing, and I'm not obviously not naming any names, the work they're doing is all about sort of optimizing some caching algorithm or something, or optimizing some tile image macro thing. And it's like, well, whatever happened to taking a circle and stretching it into the shape of a human face? Why aren't you doing that anymore? You know, I feel like it's going to happen like Noah Veltman. We hired Noah. He did Flubber, super popular library, right? That takes shapes and transitions complex shapes into each other. And, the next thing I'm going to find out tomorrow is that Noah's working on, some new MVC framework or something. It's going to be terrible. It's depressing. Phil, don't ever change. Don't ever get a real job. Please.
Okay. I don't actually
Did you want to click on this so people could see it? Or do you only show things to people in, thumbnail?
I know, wait, hold on.
Nothing on your computer works properly.
Okay.
Good golly. There we go. There it is.
Oh, okay.
People get inflated expectations, which, first of all, let's be clear here. In the case of data visualization, those aren't inflated expectations. Those are perfectly accurate expectations. Data visualization is amazing and revolutionary in ways that other technologies aren't, because it's not a technology. It's a fundamental modification of our communication system that wasn't available until people could procedurally communicate, which is what we're doing.
That's interesting.
And now people have found out that all of those network charts, and I went through this at Stanford in sort of microcosm, where everybody got so excited about seeing network diagrams. And I didn't really know what I was doing when I was making network diagrams. So I was making them poorly. And eventually they would get disillusioned. They would sit there and really engage with them and really find meaning in them and slowly have their investment be repaid with me saying, oh no, this doesn't really work this way, it rotates like this, or I don't actually know why these things are stretching like that, and so on. So it's not that people sort of gave up on data visualization because they're bad people. Data visualization failed people. And now we have to go and rebuild that trust and build and engage with the argument, which is, you're saying that this doesn't have impact. You're saying this doesn't have value. Well, let me prove it to you. Here I can help you to understand it. I can help this to be a narrative rather than just a snapshot, things like that. But it's going to take effort.
Okay.
And it hasn't started yet, I don't feel like. That's why I said data visualization is dead, because it is dead right now. Nobody's doing anything interesting and valuable in data visualization right now, at all.
So I have to say that even though Elijah comes off as this big, grumpy, snarky, sarcastic individual, you're actually super, you're one of my favorite individuals. And you're actually secretly super optimistic and really nice deep down inside.
Right. This is my character arc.
But I think we should probably actually wrap up. There's so many things that we wanted to do. Actually, Maturay, Shirley is live. Watch some of the first episodes. Thank you so much for watching them. And then, no beer today. You've come so far in just a week. That beer was only Monday. So it's only been 2 days and I've come very far. But not because I wanted to, but because I don't think there was beer in the Netflix fridge that you took me to.
That's true. I think up in the floor with the designers, they have hard alcohol. So
Okay.
Shirley can log on later
with them. And then let's see. Robert says Gartner hype cycle has reached a plateau of productivity on the Gartner hype cycle.
Oh, the Gartner, ha. That's a Gartner hype cycle joke.
Okay.
That's awesome. Somebody should do a Gartner hype cycle as a light cycle in Tron and make it crash into itself. Don't worry about it. You don't even know what any of the things I just said are, but it's recorded. You can go look up each individual word. Okay. Robert knows what I'm talking about. He's a big Tron fan.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So you're trying to wrap up, and
yes,
I'm enjoying my moment in the spotlight.
We'll come back next time. You gotta. We'll do this again. Yeah. So.
Better for you.
Come back. Things that we wanted to cover today, where you show me NDA things and I react and nobody else gets to see them. Another thing is I wanted to share findings from this thing with you and get your reactions.
What was your overall findings for this? To spoil it for our audience, they have to get something out of this. What amazed you about this? What does this chart tell you?
You know what was fun? Okay, so this part. So this is this black thing is the median, and then wait, I can just say this is a box plot. Duh. Okay. So one of the things that's fun. Well, actually, first of all, I want to just ask if your primary focus is data visualization. What are you So this X is percent of day the respondent spends on data visualization. So what are the people like right here doing? That's what I want to know. Like the people that are on the scale that said that they do data visualization as their primary, but then spends less than 20% of their day working on data visualization. Like, and then I'm like, what kind of frustrations do you have?
Right. And what were they? What do people like those say?
So data engineering, lacking JavaScript expertise, not many users aware of user best practices. So it actually doesn't
Well,
have
here's
much.
here's literally too much engineering for too little chart, which is,
I love this.
that's the description.
Not doing enough, lack of data, need better process to teach. Actually, this should be the title of this piece. Too much engineering for too little chart. I like this one
The
a lot.
Shirley Wu story.
Yeah. Basically, when I spend a whole day making a chart that doesn't work, or a graph that doesn't work. So this one was interesting to me. Is there a separate group that does Dataviz? So I think what was interesting to me was the fact that like the overall people spent more time on Dataviz. Like not this is just correlation, but
Sure, of course.
when they were on a separate data visualization specific group rather than on like say embedded. Although it seems like a lot more people are on embedded teams, and then the both did a like people that have both, I guess, get to work on Dataviz a little bit more. But this thing was, I think, what was the most shocking to me. And also, I don't know what this means for us, but okay, so if you look at how to read this, so the top is people that responded with no frustrations,
Right.
and the people at the bottom are people that responded with frustrations.
Right.
And in most cases, people with frustrations are, or rather, the people that do more Dataviz
Right.
are the
more
ones
frustrated.
that are more frustrated.
That's right.
And I was like, what does this mean? And one justification I have is perhaps these are the people that care more, so they responded with their frustrations. Because just because there's no frustrations doesn't, or just because they didn't respond with a frustration doesn't mean that they're happy.
What do the filled circles mean?
Oh yeah, so fill circles are those that set out to work in Dataviz and did not. That one didn't come in as useful.
So it's just a nice flavor.
Yeah, so yeah, that one I thought would be more interesting, but it wasn't. And then I also have a few questions that have to do with like I thought this one was kind of interesting. How often do your consumers consume your data visualization? And then so you can see clearly like obviously people whose consumers consume it more often, like hourly or daily, they spend more time on it. And then as you go down to yearly.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And then there's
I mean, it's at least nice. It seems to make the survey results make sense.
Yeah. And the knowledge level. So then like experts, when you're making for experts, I guess you spend more time as opposed to for more moderate and intro. And then there's also some findings about salaries, because there's one that you had that was like, is your total compensation in line or like perceived in line? A lot of people didn't respond, but this one was also interesting. Like I think what was interesting is like if you say what focus it's I'm really angering my laptop.
Yeah.
But like if I just kind of brush over all of the people that said primary, and you can see like the percentage of people that are filtered out. And then if you like perceived, there's a higher hold on, I don't know how to put this into words.
A higher perceived inequality among those who feel that data visualization is their primary work. All right. At least you've translated to the universal language of squints.
And then if you look at this, the percentages are flipped. When it's one of several, more people perceive that their total compensation is lower. So
when you're the data visualization person, when you're forced to handle the data visualization as sort of one of your tasks,
it seems like you perceive your total compensation to either be higher or the same as your peers. Your like more tangential peers. Yeah, so these are all just correlations, like they're all just patterns, but I'm publishing them in your Medium
Phil
publication.
wants to know if you're going to generalize this viz work so it'll work on any survey.
Nope.
It'll be a Surly survey plugin.
Nope.
Oh.
I don't think so. I mean, if anybody wants it, I guess like it's, yeah, actually, it's pretty like interchangeable. I just have like a JSON that like grabs all of the questions, and then that's how I do it. But
I mean, you've literally just described every application made in the last 5 years.
I know.
But yes, I think I know what you're saying.
yeah, so you can also like brush it to look at the so there's like 3 sections to my write-up. The first one is what trends in their jobs translate to more hours spent on data visualization. What trends in their job translates to higher or lower perceived compensation, and then taking those 2 measures and looking at the frustrations that people have cited. So that's the write-up. I'm almost done. So yeah. So
all right.
That was that one. And then should I react to your Netflix?
My Netflix? No, because we're out of time.
Okay.
So just be amazed that Shirley gets to even see the stuff that we're making.
We can do this again.
It's amazing.
We should do this again sometime. We'll see each other in a few months.
There we go. Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining. Is there anything else we needed to say?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining.
Thanks, everybody.
And then here's the gratuitous, really cute.
Oh.
Thank you, screen. Ooh, just to make sure there's no more chat questions.
Chat questions.
Did we cover? Oh, I forgot to answer the very first one.
Which was?
About.
Oh, good. Just in case we need to hear more.
The very first one about where do I get.
Matt wants to buy your dog pictures. So now that your data visualization career is cratering, you can transition into a
this is my old
dog photo licenser. This
is my old coworker's puppy, the cutest. Her name is Willow. Anyways, actually going now. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye bye.